So only there are 55 students, and yesterday 101 student told that we can take class tomorrow. So should I wait or should I start now? Vikram, can you just write on a chat box that whether I should start or should I wait for 1 or 2 minutes? Okay, so I'm gonna start now. Okay, so the first topic of today is prefix array. So I will start with a problem. So you are given a array of n numbers, and you have to find out the sum between indexes L to R. For example, you are given an array of one array of 8 elements -1 3 0 2 -1 2 1 and -2, and the indexes are 0 base indexing, so it would be 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and you have to find out the sum between L to R. L means 1, R means 6. It means that you have to find out the sum between indexes 1 to index 6. So how do you find it? How to find the sum between index L to index R? Just write on a chat box how do you find it. Echo? I don't think that there should be an echo. So is it fine now? I don't know why. So still there is echo. No sir, it's still echoing. Echo. I don't know why it's showing. I don't know why this echo is coming. Everything is fine. Okay. So still there is a problem or hello. So yes, echo. Okay, so still I think there are so many students are saying that it is ununderstandable. So I don't think that I should continue now, because there will be only time wasted. So I think Vikram is going to continue from here. So just write finally that whether is it fine or not, otherwise now it's going more now it is going more now. Okay, so Vikram is going to take class from now, so I will see what's the problem. Okay, so Vikram, are you here or not? Fine, sir, it is manageable. Sir, it is manageable. Okay, so only 3 students are saying it is manageable. Rest 57 or not. Yes sir, we can understand. वेव लेंगे, देख लेंगे थोड़ा. फाइन सर, इट्स इक्वलिंग बट अंडरस्टैंडेबल. I don't know I should continue or not because फाइन सर, सह लेंगे थोड़ा. ज़्यादा मूवी देख रहा है क्या? सह लेंगे थोड़ा. We can understand. Okay. So but okay, so there are so many students saying that we can manage. So let's start. So we have to find out the sum between L to R. So some students are saying that just go through one loop and count the sum. Okay, so let me write the code for this. So let's say we have defined a variable that is sum, and we have initialized sum with 0. Okay, and what we can do here, just go through one loop for int I equal to L, comma I less than or equal to R, comma I plus plus, and just write sum plus equal to array of I. So see out sum between L to R is just this sum. Okay, so this is a very simple problem. If you have to find out the sum between L to R, so just go through a single loop from L to R and just sum plus equals to ARR of I. So this would be your answer. It's a very simple problem. So now let's increase the difficulty of the problem. So now your second problem is, you have to solve the same problem, that is to find out the sum between L to R, but there is a constraint. You will be given q number of queries. It means that for each query, for q of I, so each query, small q, q of I, for each query you will be given L and R, and you have to find out the sum between L to R. Okay, L to R. Okay, so I just forgot one thing. The time complexity of this code is order of n. So we are going through just a single loop. So in worst case, your L could be 0 and your R could be n minus 1. So the time complexity is order of n. Time complexity is order of n. Okay, this is the first problem, and this is your second problem. So now just think about it, that how do you solve this problem. Yeah, so this is your second problem. So the same problem to find the sum between L to R, but there will be q number of queries, and for each query you have to find out the sum between L to R. Nested loop. Okay, some students are saying that we can do a nested kind of loop. Now it's completely okay. Echoing gone. Okay, I don't know why it was happening at that point of time, but it's fine now. So just go through it. Please sir, please tell the first problem. I joined late. Okay, so your first problem was to just, you are given a simple array and you have to find out the sum between L to R. So just just declare a variable that is int sum equals to 0, and just go through each element of between L to R, and just sum plus equals to ARR of I, and the sum between L to R is that sum. So it's a very simple, just a single loop, but the problem arises from here, the difficulty arises from here, that you are given q number of queries, and for each query you will be given L and R, and you have to find out the sum between L to R. Okay, so some students are saying that we can do a nested loop, and how do we do that? So just let's see how can we do here. So for I equals to 0, so for int q equals to 0, sorry, query query equals to 0 comma, let's start with 1, query query less than or equals to n comma query query plus plus. It means that I am going through each query, and for each query I will be given an L comma R, and then C in L, C in R. Sorry, so let me just put it on another page so it will be clear. Okay, so for each query I am scanning the number L and R, and now int sum equals to 0. I am doing the exactly same process which I did earlier. I equals to L comma I less than or equals to R comma I plus plus, and sum plus equals to a RR of I, and then cout sum. Okay, yeah. So what I am doing here, for means I am going through each query, and each query, so this would be Q. So I am going through each query, and in each particular query I am scanning the indexes L and R. So I have seen L and R, and then I have taken the sum between L to R, and then I have printed it. Okay, so if you guys have any doubt till now, then just write on the chat box. Otherwise, tell me what would be the time complexity of this code. Time complexity. Order of n square. Okay, so there would be q number of queries, q number of queries, q number of queries, and n number of elements. So just write in terms of n and q. N number of elements. So what is your time complexity? Order of q into n. Okay, it's absolutely correct. It's absolutely correct. Neeraj, Sakshi, Saksham, Prashant. Okay, so yeah, so the time complexity is order of, so the time complexity is order of n multiplication with q, because what I'm doing here, I'm going through each query, and for each query your time complexity is order of n. So you can see from here also the time complexity of this code is order of n. So for each particular query I am going through each loop from L to R, so the time complexity is q into n. Okay, time complexity is q into n. Okay, so can you optimize it? Can you solve this problem in order of q? Just take 2 minutes, and if you come up with any kind of solution, then just let me know that can you solve this problem in order of q, because it is possible that your q is less than or equals to 10 to the power 5, and your n is also less than or equal to 10 to the power 5. So in this case q into n would be 10 to the power 10, and it will show time limit exceeded if your time complexity is q into n. So try to optimize it. That is there any solution to solve this problem in order of q? Just take 2 minutes of time, and then I will discuss it. So just let me go through the chat box. That is there any doubt for nested loop? Okay, so function and user input for L to R, L and R. I think we have taken the input L and R. It's fine. First for loop for queries, and then for each type of queries. Okay, so I have done the same thing. For each query I'm going through L2R doc link. So doc link is in the chat in the description box. You can go through it, take it from there. No echo gone. Okay, so there is no doubt. So let me see now. Sir, we can take input in one loop. Sir, we can take input in one loop, and in other loop we can do the operation. We can take the input in one loop, but still the time complexity will be q into n, because if you store I don't think that the time complexity can be reduced by this method. I think it's the same method. Whether you are storing all the queries or you are going through each query, it's same. There will be no difference in time complexity. Sir, docklink please. Docklink is in the chat in the description box. Take it from there. Separate loop. Sir, restore the sum of elements which has the maximum queries length, and then for rest of the queries subtract the value. Okay, so just go through the worst case. So let's say you are given q queries, and for each queries by the way, your solution is correct, but in worst case it's not order of q, it is still be more than order of q. Saksam Divedi, yeah, kind of correct solution, but not absolutely correct, because we don't know what would be the worst case. There might possible that there are some random L to R. Sometimes it from 0 to 2, then 1 to 1, then kind of randomness. So order of n, maybe, but maybe it's possible that using order of n, but I don't think that. Okay, so let me discuss now. I think I have given sufficient time. Okay, so now I'm going to discuss what is prefix sum. Prefix sum. So here the prefix sum comes into the picture. Prefix sum. So what happened actually? So let's say you are given an array. So let's say the same array. So this is your array. Now what we can do here? Okay, so just tell me one thing. So let me define a array that is int prefix of n. So I have defined an array. So my prefix of I store. So prefix of I store sum of all elements from index 0 to I think it would be better from start till index I. Yeah, so prefix of I represent sum of all elements from start till I. For example, so can you guys tell me what would be the value of prefix of 3? Sorry, prefix of 3. What would be the value of prefix of 6? What would be the value of prefix of 2? And finally, what would be the value of prefix of 7? So just tell me 3, 6, 2 and 7, what would the value? Just go through this definition of prefix of I and tell me the value of 3, 6, 2 and 7. Okay, so just write in one line, then I can understand it better. Don't write it separately. Okay, so prefix of 3 would be, so prefix of 3 means from starting till 3. So this value -1, 3, 0 and 2. So 3 plus 2 5 and -1, that is 4. And prefix of 6 is sum from starting till index 6. So it will be 3 plus 2 5 7 8 6. So this value would be 6. and this value would be 2, and your final value would be 6 minus 1 2, that is 4. Yeah, so 4 6 2 and 4. Okay, so this will be your value. Okay, so now using this technique, so can you guys tell me what would be the value of sum between L to R? Just take 1 minute of time. Using this using this prefix array, what would be the sum between L to R in constant time? So can you guys tell me what would be the sum between index L to index R in constant time, means just in one line? Okay, prefix of L minus prefix of R. By the way, L is less than R, so L means left, R means right. Prefix of R minus prefix of L. So some student is saying prefix of R minus prefix of L minus 1. Okay, so still there are so many doubts. Some students are saying R minus L, then R minus L minus 1. So it's correct, but take your own time and just write the final correct answer, because there is some doubt from you guys, that some of you telling that R minus L, some are saying R minus L, some are saying L minus R. So take 20 seconds and then write finally on chat box. So Prashant, R minus prefix of R minus prefix of L minus 1. Sriya, prefix of R minus prefix of L minus 1. Milan, I think so Sriya Thakral, so she is saying R minus L. Muhammad, Muhammad is absolutely different, R minus 1 minus L. Okay. So the indexing is zero based indexing, so take care of that. Mayank, Muhammad, Neeraj. Okay, so just for this will be prefix of R minus prefix of L minus 1. So a big round of applause for all those who write who retain this value in the chat box, prefix of R minus prefix of L minus 1. So let me show how. So let's say this is your array. So this is your array, okay, and this is your for example, this is your this is your L, and this is your R. Okay, this is your L and this is your R. So what is prefix of I? So I have told you the definition of prefix of I. So prefix of R basically it represents the sum from 0 till R, and prefix of L represent sum from 0 till L. Okay, and let me show one more. Prefix of L minus 1 represent sum from 0 to L minus 1. Okay, yeah. Okay, so you can see from here, to find the sum between L to R, what we can do here, you will find the value of prefix of R, that is from starting to R, and subtract till from 0 to L minus 1. So let me remove L from here, and let me show you. This is your L. Okay, so it would be better. Yeah, so you can you can look it from here, that okay, L and R. Okay, yeah. So your prefix of R is this one number. This is your prefix of R, and if you want to find the sum from L to R, what you have to do, you have to subtract from 0 to 2. It means that you have to subtract the sum, the prefix sum from 0 till L minus 1. Okay, So I don't have I don't know how to change the color, otherwise I would have shown you that how it's happening actually. So you can just look it from here that prefix of r is from starting till r, and if you want to calculate the sum between L to r, so just subtract subtract the value of 0 till L minus 1. Okay, so that's why your sum from L to R would be, this would be prefix of R minus prefix of L minus 1. So I think it's clear to all of you. So if you have any doubt, just write on a chat bar, because this is the most important part, and you will use most of the time this equation, because it's a very important part in coding, that is prefix array. We use lots of time. Okay sir, I got it. So is there any doubt in this prefix, that how the sum between L to R is equals to prefix sum of R minus prefix sum of L minus 1? Sir, what's the time complexity of prefix? Okay, I will tell you. Sir, it's just like number of elements between interval, not number of element, it's the sum of element between L to R, between that interval. It's the sum between L to R, not the number. If you want to find the number between L to R, so it's a simple, just R minus L minus 1. So it's a number of elements, just R minus L minus 1. L equals to 0. So it's a corner case. I will take care of this when I will write the code. But whether is there any doubt in theoretical portion or not. So I will take care of L equals to 0. Don't worry. It's a corner case. Okay, so only 1 or 2 students are saying that no doubt. So rest, what about rest? No doubt, sir. Okay, I think no doubt. So okay, so let me discuss the time complexity. So I have discussed time complexity till here. So yeah, so the time complexity as prefix, this is, so let me first write the code of prefix. So how to calculate prefix array, okay. So still so now again I am going you guys 2 minutes to just think about how to calculate the prefix array. So you have 2 minutes, then I will discuss. Just take 2 minutes, that how to calculate the prefix array, then I will discuss it, how to calculate it. No doubt, sir, no doubt. Okay, so I know you guys are intelligent. Okay, these are very simple things to all of you, it's fine. Sum of elements, Mayank, sum of elements, so my question was how to calculate the prefix array. No doubt. Mayank Narang, sir, isn't this working like a loop only where prefix is internally summing the element? Like a loop only where prefix is internally summing the element. Maybe you can say it. You may. So prefix, yeah. So Nityam, it's 100% correct, absolutely correct. Prefix sum of prefix value of I equals to prefix value of I minus 1 plus ARR of I. It's 100% correct. So let me just write the code here. So let's say I have defined an array of like this, int prefix of an, okay, you know what would be the value of prefix of 0? Your prefix of 0 would be the first element itself, the first element of the array itself, okay, ARR of 0, because you know what is the look the definition of prefix I. Prefix of I represent the sum from starting till I. So prefix of 0 is the sum from starting, that is 0 till 0. It means that only one element. And for rest, and to calculate the rest of the elements of the prefix array, just go through I equals to 1, I less than n, I plus plus, prefix of I equals to prefix of I minus 1 plus ARR of I. Okay, so you can you can just read it like this. So you have calculated prefix of I at any particular time. You have calculated prefix of I. It means that you have calculated the sum from 0 till I. Okay, and if you want to calculate the value of prefix of I plus 1, it means that you want to calculate the value of sum from 0 to I plus 1. So what we can do here, so this can be written as equals to sum from 0 till I plus ARR of I plus 1. Or you can let's say this is your I minus 1, then it would be more clear to all of you, because then it would be same. So you have calculated prefix sum of I minus 1, that is sum from 0 to I minus 1, and you want to calculate the prefix value of I, that is you want to calculate the sum from 0 to I. So what you can do here, so the value of sum from 0 to I will be sum from 0 to I minus 1 and plus the current element. So what is your first? So this is your nothing but prefix value of I minus 1 plus ARR of I. So this is how this relation comes. And your time complexity would be, time complexity is very simple, just simple order of n, because we are just going through one loop, nothing else. So this is your time complexity. So this is how we calculate your prefix array. Let me increase the font. Yeah. And now so let me write the final code for this solution. So the final code would be solution of this problem. Solution. So the final solution would be, so now we have calculated the prefix array. So prefix array has been calculated. So we have calculated the prefix array. And now what for I equals to 0, just let me copy from here. What happened, Vikram? So for each query, so I have calculated L and R, then I have taken the input C in L and C in R, and int sum. What would be the sum? Sum will be prefix of R minus prefix of L minus 1. So one student tell me, what if L equals to 0? So you can check like this, that int sum equals to 0, let's say. So if L is not equals to 0, sum equals to this. Otherwise, if L equals to 0, then sum will be simple, prefix of and then see out the same code, see out sum. So now can you guys tell me what is the time complexity now for this code? What is the time complexity of this code? What is the time complexity of this code? So just look at it. So till here I have discussed about prefix array and all, and now I have shown you the sum. Yeah, so now the time complexity is order of q. Yeah, so basically if you want to write the exact time complexity, then this would be max of q comma n, you know, because to calculate the prefix array, the time complexity is order of n, and to find the solution, the time complexity is order of q. So the overall time complexity would be the maximum between n and q, but it's fine to just write simple, you know, simple n. It's no problem. It's up to you. So is there any doubt till now? I have discussed all these things about prefix array, and remember, you are going to use it lots of time if you practice. By the way, if you don't practice, then it's fine, I mean, but if you practice, then you would find that you are going to use it lots of time. No sir. So what about others? Time complexity is q into n. Why q into n? Because I have already calculated the prefix array, and the time complexity was order of n, and for each query I am just using that sum equals to prefix sum of r minus prefix sum of l minus 1. So these are constant operations. So you know, these are constant operations. So the time complexity is simple order of q for this code, and for this code this is order of n. So the overall time complexity is maximum, but you can just write order of q or order of n. It's up to you. No doubt, sir. What about rest? If you don't have any doubt, so you can go through the third problem. So this is the last problem, and then Vikram will discuss it. If you guys have any doubt, prefix array is calculated before processing the query. Yeah, so I have calculated the prefix array before going through each query. So you can see from here, I have calculated it already. So let me just bold it. So prefix array has already been calculated. So I have already calculated before going through the for each query, and for each query I am going, you know, just doing the same process. I am scanning L and R, and I am using the sum from L to R. Mayank, so no doubt, sir. So there is no relation among them. Acha, wo Bikram is saying. No doubt, sir. Okay, so if you guys don't have any doubt, so so just go through the third problem. So this is your third problem. By the way, the response is very less this time. I don't know what. If you guys, you know, just let me tell you one thing. If you guys have any doubt, don't hesitate, because when I started, then I used to hesitate, from asking the question to teachers or even seniors also. But this is not the good for you, because at that time nobody told me that you should ask the question, don't hesitate. But I am recommending you, don't hesitate if you guys have any doubt, because I was also just like you at the starting. Sir, can you explain the above code using some values? Some values, I think I have shown you with example. So this is an array, this is the definition of prefix, and I have shown you the example like what will be the value of prefix of 3, 6, 2 and 7, and then I have shown you the prefix of r is sum of L 0 to r. I think I have shown you everything, that the sum between L to r is prefix sum of r minus prefix sum of L minus 1, and then I have told you how to calculate the prefix array. I don't think that is, I don't know what should I do next, because it's enough. Even my seniors also didn't explain me that much. He just told, that this is this, but I'm not talking anything, but I think it's enough explanation. If you want, then you can go through one example. Just look at the 5 elements of it. You can even go through this example itself. Just look at this example and calculate in pen and paper, because if I am going to discuss all these things, then it will take lots of time to cover each and every topic. So it's up to you, that just look at this example and go through each and every operation. And if you still have any doubt, then just ask in Telegram group. Okay, so I'm sorry that I am not going to discuss it, because we had lots of things to cover. So I have tried my best to explain each and every aspects. Plus, okay, please show the last question. So this is your question. So this question is Vikram is going to solve this question. So let me tell you. So I'm really sorry that I'm not going to discuss with an example, because it's a short class today. But if you guys have any problem, then just feel free to ask on Telegram group. Sir, your explanation is very well. Thanks. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We are not allowed. No, so there are two groups. One group is official group, so only we are able to write anything. But there is one more group, that is the discussion group, where you can write anything. Even lots of students are asking question, and you guys also helping with each other, and also we and if we get some time, then we also solve your problems. So there are two groups. One is discussion group and one is official group. And one more thing, it's not always possible to just grab everything is in just a single time, in a first time. When you were taking the classes in your JE, in any coaching, so sometimes it's happened that you guys don't understand each and every topics in first time, and then you come to your home and you revise all this topic, and then you get command on the topic. So it's exactly same thing. I have explained you have most of the students have understood it, and if some of you have any problem, then just go through it once after taking the class, and still if you have any doubt, then just ask us. So this is the beautiful way of studying. Okay, so Vikram is going to take the class from here, so he will discuss this problem. Okay, so Vikram, I'm stopping it now, stopping it streaming, and continue from here. So just write Vikram on chat box that should I stop streaming? हाँ भाई, okay.
एक बार चैट पे लिख दो कि स्क्रीन दिख रही है और मेरी आवाज आ रही है ना से. Okay, fine. So this is the question. Okay, I'll just explain it to you once. Fine. So you're given an array. Okay, n size key array. Initially all the elements are 0. Okay, like you can assume it to be 0. Like you have an array of suppose n elements, and all are 0. Suppose like consider this case while n is 10 here. Okay, so 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is the array that's initially given to you. Okay, and you have some Q queries. Okay, Q queries of the form, and in each query you have three numbers L, R, and X. Okay, so what you have to do is for each query you have to add the value X from index 1 from index L to index R. Suppose for example, if your query is something like L is your 3, R is, let's suppose, 7, and you have X equal to 5. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to add the element 5, you have to add the value 5 in the position of from 3 to 7. Like if you in this case the array would become something like 0, 2. So now it's the third element, 5, 4, 5, 6, and 0, 0. So the array would become something like this. Like after you have added 5 from index 3 to index 7, your array would become something like this. So is it clear? Like the question is clear? Suppose you have one more query. Let's say L is your 2, R is your suppose 4, and X is suppose 3. So in this case, your if you execute this query, you will get something like 0, comma 0, comma 3. Now this will become 8, and this will also become 8. Yes. So just uh, tell so this is what you have to do for Q queries. Okay, so the constraints are 1 is less than equal to n is less than equal to 10 raised to power 5, and your Q is also 10 raised to power 5, something like this. So just try, just I'm giving one or couple of minutes, just try to solve the question. And if you have solved it, don't write this code, just write the time complexity in which you are solving the question. I mean, think everyone can do this question in Q into N. Like for each query, you can simply put a for loop inside from L to R, and you can just update the element. So Q into N solution, everyone knows. I think that's the trivial solution. Try to optimize it. Try to think of something different. I think Q&, everyone can solve it. I think that's no doubt in that. And if like you can also see from the constraints that if you're doing the solving the question in Q into Qn, then it will be 10 to the power 10. So that's more than 10 to the power 8. So it won't get accepted. So even if you submit that question, you won't get the solution accepted. So just think of something else. Sir, is it always that tender time complexity gets rejected? Yes, man, it will never be accepted. If you are solving this questions on any online judge, or even if you encounter this question in your coding round, it won't get accepted. Like in coding round, there are partial points, but it won't, be really good. Like many people would be able to do it completely, so it won't help you if you submit the QN solution. because the thing is everyone can do it in QA. This is not some really difficult task. Everyone can do it. So the judging criteria is who can do it. Whose code is more efficient. So if anyone has thought of something, he or she can tell the approach. I just need to know the approach. I don't need the implementation. I just need to know an approach. Like, has anyone thought of anything? Like, right, wrong doesn't matter. Just thought of something different other than Q into N. For so, uh, should I tell the solution, or is anyone still thinking? Should give a couple of more minutes. So we can calculate in one loop the sum that is added to each ith element. Calculate in one loop the sum. Okay. Yeah, but if you do that ith element, like suppose you are to each ith element, you're solving for each element. So the complexity would still be q into n because you're solving it like you said that we can calculate in one loop the sum that is added to each ith element. Now there are q queries which you'll have to iterate, and you're doing it for each element. So then the complexity would still be q into n. So do you need more time, like a couple of more minutes, or should I, tell the approach? At least write yes or no, like whether you are thinking or should I proceed. Okay, fine. So just take 3 more minutes, okay, and then tell the approach. Okay, fine. So just see the solution as we have less time today. The class is shorter. So just consider this query again, the first one. Okay. So consider this. So after the first query is executed, you get the array as this, right? So can you like something do it? Now we know the element 5 will be added from L, right? Prefix of I is minus prefix of I plus 1 plus x. Uh, no, we'll be using this prefix sum, but not like this. We don't have to make the prefix array in this case. Okay, not able to solve the problem because I missed 3 classes. That doesn't matter because the question is based on today's class itself. So I think okay, fine. Just see. Uh, so we know that we need to start adding 5 from the lth index, like that's the third index in this case, and we need to stop adding it at the 8th index, right? Because we have to add it till 7th, from 3 to 7. So we know that we need to start adding it at the third index, and we need to end it at the 8th index, right? So can you do something like this: 0 comma 0 comma 0 5 0 0 0 0 minus 5 0. That means we need to start adding, start adding 5 at the third index, and we can take the prefix sum after we have processed all the queries, and we need to stop adding at the 8th index, right? So when you take the prefix sum from L to R, you get 5 for all the elements, like suppose just in this case, so this is 0 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 and 9, right? So we need to, if we take the prefix sum from third, if we start if you know do the prefix sum from the third index till the 8th index, right? So what do we get? We get exactly the same array, right? We get this array. So is this clear? Like what I did here, if you do something like this and you take the prefix sum later on, you get the same array which we want. That's 5 5 5, and in the 8th index we'll get 0. If anyone has any doubt in this, you can tell. At least write yes or no, like, so that I know that you are. Sir, please explain again. Okay. Okay, fine. So effectively, just let's remove this case for now. Okay. So effectively, this is the after processing this query, we need to have the array as something like this, right? So how can you bring, so you need to add the start adding 5 from the third index till the 7th index, right? So at the third index you need to start adding 5 till where, like you can take the prefix sum right here from here. If you take the prefix sum, this will add till all the elements, and till where we have to add till the 7th. So from the 8th index, its effect should become 0. Like if we are adding 5, start adding 5 from here till 7, and we are taking the prefix sum, so we get 5 at from third position till the 7th position, so that we get 5 here. So now the 7th element is 5. Okay, and if we take the prefix sum with minus 5 here, the 8th element would become 0, right? So we'll get the same array which we wanted, right? So did not understand Rutvik and okay, I think it's clear now. So if anyone has still doubt, you can ask. I'll explain it once more if you have any doubt. Okay, sir, clear now. Fine. Okay, fine. So, so what I have done here is, like, I simply just I, instead of adding 5 at all the positions, I just added 5 at the lth index and subtracted 5 from the r plus 1th index. And finally, when we'll take the prefix sum in the end, we'll get the same array, right? So this is how we approach the question. Okay, don't need any other array. So just assume, but just in this case, assume the array input array to be of size n plus 1. Okay, you know, to uh, so the elements are from 0 to n, and you will be giving two indexes from 0 to n, but just assume the array to be n plus 1. So we'll have elements from 0 to n. We don't have to, take care of the corner case in this case. So just take, so all the elements are 0. So you can write something like this. So that means all the elements in the array are 0. Okay, and okay, fine. And suppose, and you have q queries. So just take the input. So we have n. Just take the input, and now we have q queries. So you need to have q queries. Okay, and so we can do something like q minus minus, like for each query. This is like if anyone is not able to understand what this while loop is doing. So this is the same as for int I equal to 1, I less than equal to q, I plus plus. So this is the same thing. This is the same thing. Okay, while q minus minus is like whenever you try to enter this loop, q if it will check whether q is 0 or not, and if q is 0 then it will break out of the loop, otherwise it will enter the loop and it will automatically decrease the value of q by 1. Okay, so this is the same thing as this thing. I prefer to write it this way. Even if I prefer to write while q minus minus, I don't like to use a variable, because in this case we don't need the value of I, right? We don't, I is not any index, so I prefer to write it like this way. So if you want, you can write for loop as well like this, and so that's up to you. Okay, but I prefer to write it while q minus minus. Okay, so for each query we need 3 values, right? So what we can do simply is we can just add the value x at the nth index, and we can subtract the element value x from the r plus 1th index, right? So this is like the so suppose we have two queries, and suppose after this query we have one more query which we had earlier. So suppose L was 2. So yeah, this was the query. Okay, and after executing this query, the first one, we got the array as this one, right? So just I'm deleting these things. Okay, because now we are updating the array like this in like this for loop, right? So this is the array we got after the first query. Now suppose the second query also gets executed. So in that case we'll get we are adding 3 at the second index. Okay, so 0 comma 0 comma 3 comma 5 comma, so 0 1 2 3 4. So 4 will still be 0, and we are subtracting it at the fifth index minus 3, and we get 0 0 minus 5 0, right? So this is the final array we are getting after executing these two queries. Okay, so in that case, now if you take the prefix sum, the array we'll get is something like 0 comma 0 comma 3. Now we have 3 in the previous one, so 8 8 5 5 5 0 comma 0. So that's the same array we're getting, right? Which we needed. We have added 3 from 2 to the fourth index, and we have added 5 from here to here. Okay, so now the task is left is to just take the prefix array. So for int I equal to 1, I less than equal to I less than n, I plus plus. So simply just do the sum a minus 1, and so that's the final answer you will get. Like finally AI, after this for loop, AI, the array A would have the required array after executing all the queries. So if we have space separating, uh, if we have spaces separating some int values in input, this would work, right? C in yeah, this would work. Just you have to, you have taken the greater than sign. It would it would be the opposite sign for the input. It's never towards the side of the variable. It's always towards the sign of towards the side of scene. Its mouth is always open towards the side of scene. Okay, so if anyone has doubt in this question, they can ask, like something related to the logic or something, like why have you done like this, something like that. If you have any doubt related to that, you can ask. So I didn't get the last loop. Okay, so in the last loop we're doing the prefix sum, right? Like we used to, Rajan did in the last question. We're doing the same thing. In this case, the thing is, there is no we are, so this basically means, and just the only difference is we are doing the prefix sum in the same array, right? We are not creating a separate array. We are just adding the values in the same array, right? So that's why you can write something like AI plus AI minus 1. So last loop sum, like this. That's basically this thing. So we are just adding the previous value stored in the current index. So that's effectively the same as the prefix array. Just we have not created a special another array. We're doing the prefix sum in the same array. Like suppose if we go back and yeah, this was the array, right? So in this case, if we do the prefix sum, like Rajan created another specific array, right? But we can still do the same thing in the same array, because if we do something like the first one would be the same. We add the last index, add the last element to the current index. We get 2. Add the last one, we get 2. Then 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 minus 1 is 3. And then it's minus. Then 3 plus 2 is 5, 6, 4. Right. So that's the same as the prefix sum, the prefix array you got. So you can also check that the prefix array was also the same. Now I did this in the same array because we don't require the current array A, right? So you can do in the same array as well. If you don't require the values that were stored in the array initially, you can do in the same. So first we are adding and subtracting all x when we are taking prefix sum for all queries, but according to our logic, how we have to do them simultaneously, how the both are same. Okay, so I just explained it to you like this. Like if you do these two queries which are here, you get this thing. Sankalp, right? Yes, yeah, right? Yes or no? Yes, ठीक है. So when you take the prefix sum, you are getting this array, right? Right? Yes or no? Like, yes. So that's the same thing we needed. Like basically what we are doing is, if we write x, if we add x at the lth index, what that means is that we need to start adding 5, we need to start adding x from the lth index onwards, and till where? Till the rth index, right? So in the r plus 1 index, its effect should be void, right? There should be no effect on the r plus 1 index and all the successive indexes. So in, so to counter x, what we need minus x. So we just add minus x at the r plus 1th index. So effectively when you take the prefix sum, you'll add 5, you'll add 5, you'll add 5 till here, and after that 5 minus 5, 0. You get the same, you get 0, right? Sankalp, is it clear right now? So you can just type yes or no. Akash, sir, in prefix array, writing prefix is syntax or it's array name? It's an array name. You can name anything you want. You can take any array, you can take anything according to your convenience, prefix, pref, anything. Want to print all elements after each query. Then what to do? You won't be asked that question, right? Because if you do that, then you'll have to print all the elements for each query. The complexity would go to qn. We don't need that. We just need the final array. Sir, why we took the array of size n plus 1? Okay, so now what we are doing is, uh, we are subtracting x from the r plus 1th position. Now suppose you have query something like, your query is, suppose L is your 0 and n is, r is your n minus 1, right? So a of 0, there's no problem in this, right? And when you do r plus 1, it will be equal to n. But, and if you create an array of n size, then that will go out of bounds. So although we don't require the n plus 1th index, instead of just, instead of writing an if statement here, like if r is not equal to n minus 1, like Rajan did in the prefix sum, okay, instead of doing that, we are simply doing this, so that we don't have to, take care of the corner condition. Although the n plus nth index is not of any use to us, still we are writing it. Okay, so is it clear? Who asked it? Yeah. Okay, fine. But sir, in our code we are first subtracting all the x's. Okay, think of it at this way. Now, so are you having any confusion, Sankalp, like that some index could go negative? Like the value of at any position can go negative even though we are adding positive values at in each of the intervals. Like, is that your confusion? Sir should be, no sir. Sir should be, so then, okay, minus, I'll try to explain. Now you are putting minus at r plus 1th index, right? Right, you're putting minus x at r plus 1th index. And we know that L is always less than equal to R. So R plus 1 is effectively always greater than equal to L, right? Greater than, not equal, greater than L. So when you add X at Lth index, so that means you need to start adding start adding X from the Lth index up till where? Up till the Rth index. And so effectively when you take the and you are taking the prefix sum, right? So this minus x, you had an x earlier, the x will propagate till the rth index, right? When you keep adding it, when you take the prefix sum, the x will propagate till the rth index, and at the r plus 1 index its effect should be uh, you know should be 0. If its effective result should be 0. So x minus so x plus minus x, that's 0. So so that x, adding x will have effect only till the rth index. So should we store minimum value of L and maximum value of R from input and run the loop for minimum of L? Uh, no. Uh, you have different values of x. You need to add x in different intervals, and x is also changing. So you can't do that. The x is fixed for a particular interval for a particular query. So does anyone have any doubt? Still, you can ask. Just write yes or no, and you can ask again if you have this any doubt. Okay, sir, got it. Thank you. Bye. Anyone else? Like, anyone have any other confusion? No. Okay, fine. Okay, so this you'll be encountering in a lot of situations. You will need the prefix sum many times when you solve a question. Okay. Recently, there was a contest on Code Forces on 15th January, on 14th January. That was day before yesterday. So the fourth question, right? Uh, that was based on prefix sum and suffix sum. Like so, yeah. About the suffix sum, I forgot. So as you are doing prefix sum, you can also do a suffix. Like prefix is starting from 0 to n, from 0 to I, and suffix is starting from n minus 1 to I. Like if suffix I represents the sum of values from I to the n minus 1 index, like we are moving forward, right? I think that's you can by the same logic which Rajan explained here, prefix 1, you can create an I'll just do it here. Just create a suffix array, okay? And in this case, your suffix of n minus 1 should be equal to AR of n minus 1, right? Because the sum of elements from n minus 1 to the n minus 1 index, like when I is n minus 1, it would simply be that element. So in this case, what we need is, so we'll reverse the loop, where we'll start from n minus 2, I greater than equal to 0, I minus minus, and you have the suffix of I, and in this case suffix of I plus 1 plus AR of I. So based on the same logic of prefix, you can also create a suffix array. Is it clear? Like the suffix array, I think that's the same thing, so there shouldn't be any confusion in it. Like the prefix is from starting, the suffix is from the end. Does anyone have any confusion in this part? Yes, sir. Okay, fine. Okay. Okay, fine. Okay. So the question, uh, which I was talking about, so that was based on prefix suffix. Okay. So the question wasn't easy. Like you can have good questions in prefix suffix as well. It's just that you'll have to see like how can you make a prefix array. So the prefix array is not always on the max on the sum. It can also be on the minimum maximum. Like suppose you're given an array and you have the prefix of I can also represent the maximum value from 0 to I. Like you can do something like that as well. So that question was based on that. So that would be a little difficult for you right now. So I'm not giving that question. And just before we end the class, I'll just tell you about this comparator function. Okay, comparator function and sort. So now I think everyone is familiar with the sort function. Like in suppose we have an array and we can sort simply using this line, right? So by default, sort function always sorts the elements in ascending order, right? So you get an array sorted in ascending order. But suppose you need an array in, share the link of that problem. Okay, fine. Okay, I'll share the link. Uh, so I've shared the link in the Google Doc link, and if you want to give it a try, you can do it. Otherwise, if you're not able to solve it, no worries. The question was really good. Many people in second and third year were also not able to solve it. Okay, so the question, it was a really good question. Okay, and so don't feel demotivated if you're not able to solve it. You can give it a try if you want. Okay, back to the comparator function. So this is the sort function which we have already learned, right? So this sorts the elements of the array A in ascending order. Okay, but suppose you need the element sorted in the descending order. Okay, so how can you do that? So for that, so one way is you reverse the, after sorting the elements in ascending order, you reverse the array. The other thing you can do is writing a comparator function. So there's one more argument you can pass in the sort function. So that's a function. So what this means is sort the array A according to the function compare. Okay, and now I'll declare I'll write the compare function. Okay, so suppose you have int main, and this was your main function. Suppose array has been inputted, and just take the input if for your convenience. Okay, so let's just take the input as well. Okay, so sort the array A according to the function compare. Okay, so I'll write the definition of the compare function. So the comparator function always has a return type of bool. Okay, bool is 0 or false, true or false. Okay, and write the function name. You can name it anything you want, compare, anything which you're comfortable with. So I just wrote compare so that you can have better understanding of what we are doing. So there are two parameters. There are always two arguments which you need to which you need to pass the to the comparator function. So that's so those arguments depend on the type of array you are sorting. Like this is an integer array, like array of integers. So we'll pass two integers. Okay. Suppose if it was an array of pair, so we'll pass two pairs. So we'll pass two arguments. Both will be of the same type as of the array. Okay. If it was two doubles, then we'll have to pass two double variables. Okay, so suppose int x, let's suppose call it p1 and p2. Okay, okay, so by default, okay, you assume that before sorting the array. Okay, so what it does is it will compare the elements p1 and p2. Okay, and it will return 0 or 1 accordingly. Like suppose you need to sort the elements in descending order, right? So that means the bigger element should come before and the other element should come after, right? So right now we are comparing these two elements, P1 and P2. Okay, so by default we assume that initially P1 is before P2 in the array. Okay, when we pass two arguments, we assume that P1 is before P2 in the array. Okay, so if P1 is greater than equal to P2, and so P1 was before and P1 is also greater, that means it's correct, right? P1 should be before P2. So in that case we will return 1. Okay, and in other case we P1 is before P2, but we know that P2 is greater than P1, so that means the ordering of P1 and P2 is wrong. So in that case it will simply return 0. Okay, so after this, when you print the array, you will get the array in descending order. So just remember a couple of things. First is the comparator function declaration, like how many arguments to pass, which type, and the return type is always bool. And uh, just have the logic in your mind that how you need to sort the array, and accordingly that and assume that P1 is before P2, and think of whether it is true or whether it is false, like P1 should be before P2 or it should be after P2. If it should be after P2, then you should return 0, else you should return 1. Okay, so is there any doubt in this? You can write yes or no. So how can we have two parameters in compare function when we aren't passing two arguments? Uh, okay, so you're saying that we have to pass two elements here. Okay, so that's the syntax. Okay, if you if you even if you write the function name, so basically the thing is, we don't the array the compiler would itself, when it will sort the array, it will itself pass the two elements from the array. We don't have to explicitly write which two elements, like if you know the thing you are saying is that's correct, we don't know the two parameters, but the compiler will internally itself pass all the two elements, and it will compare among themselves. We don't have to worry about that. I have a doubt in parameters. So does sort have three arguments? Yes, you can. Sort has three arguments, but if you don't pass the third argument, it automatically assumes that you need elements in the ascending order. Okay. So one example before I end the class. Okay. Uh, the question which we discussed in the last class, that pair we sorted using 2x plus y comma x. In that case I actually changed the pairs, right? I made the pair from x comma y to 2x plus y comma x. So if you don't want to change the pair, right, uh, if you don't want to change the pair, suppose you have an array, we had an array, okay, p of n, and that was basically x comma y in that question, if you remember. So if you want to write the comparator function, so bool, just let's name it com, and the parameters should be of pair, because we are sorting a pair array. So just write this. So now you need the, if 2x plus y, you need to sort the array according to the value 2x plus y. So 2 into p1 dot first plus p1 dot second is greater than equal to 2 dot p2 dot first plus p2 dot second. So in that case, that means p1 is before p2, and it is also uh, okay, please explain it separately. Okay, fine. So just okay, I'll just copy this thing. Okay, so that now p1 is before p2 initially, and this condition becomes true. Suppose this condition becomes true, and we needed the elements first. We needed to sort the elements according to the value 2x plus y. So if this is true, then that means our ordering is correct. The ordering of p1 and p2 is correct, so we return 1. So else, now we need to check if 2 dot p1 dot first. So else you can simply return 0. So that means p2 should come before p1. So, and initially it was p1 before p2, so our ordering is wrong, so we just need to return 0. Okay, so this is the comparator function for sorting a pair. Okay, so this thing you can do the like I did in the array, you can do the same thing for a vector as well, vector of pairs. So the same comparator function, it would work for a vector as well. So vector also, so when you sort a vector, you can also pass the third argument. If you don't pass it, you'll still have the compiler will assume that you need to sort the elements as in ascending order. Okay. So if does anyone have any doubt, they can ask. Otherwise, we'll end the class. It's already okay. I think Rajan gave a homework question. Rajan, actually, I left the last class early due to I had to go somewhere, so I don't remember the question. Can you WhatsApp me the question? Look at the homework book. Okay, okay, okay. This was okay. When we sort a vector of pairs, then by default it sorts according to the first element of the pair, but using comparator function, could you sort according to the second element? Okay, fine. So I'll do that. Okay. So this is the question I think Rajan gave you in the last class or something. Okay. So uh, okay, fine. So I'll assume that we have a vector v, okay, and we have the pairs, we have everything. We just need to write the no in today's class. Do I need to explain it today or in the next class? Today's class. Okay, fine. Okay. So just so we need to sort the elements using the second value of the pair. Fine. But using comparator function, could you sort according to the second element? I've given it just now. Just explain it once the. Okay, fine, fine. Okay, good. So yeah, we know that the sort function by default sorts the pairs, vector of pairs, according to the first element, and if they are equal, they sort it according to the second element. So now what you have to do is you need to sort the vector using the comparator function according to the second element. Okay, first you will need to compare the second element. Like if the second element is let's take an example. Let's have some pairs 1 comma 2, okay, 2 comma 3, 2 comma 4, okay, and let's take one more. uh, let's take it to be 3 comma 4. Okay, so you have to sort the elements according to the second value, right? So the second value for this is the smallest, so we get 1 comma 2 first, then we get then Okay, I think the order is already sorted. Okay, fine. So just make it something like 5. Okay, so first you get 1 comma 2, it's the smallest one, and just reverse the order. Just make it 4 comma 6, 4 comma, let's say 3, and let's have 2 comma 6, 2 comma 1, right, 2 comma 2, let's say. Okay, so this is the, okay, so first you need to compare the second element. So 2, we have the smallest one, and if they are same, then we need to compare the first one. So 1 and 2, 1 is smaller, so we get 1 2 first, then we get 2 2, and in the next we have 3, we have 2 comma 5 and 4 comma 3. Now 3 is smaller than 5, so we get 4 comma 3 first, and after that we get 2 comma 5. So this is the sorted order you need to have. Okay, sorted according to second element. Okay, so this is what you need to do. Try it at home. Okay, and in the next class, the basics of C++ and STL are over. So in the next class, probably would be starting with number theory and or binary search. I think we'll discuss among us and we'll let you know. And like those are basically really important topics. Sir, in bool syntax B is capital. No, like we have told before, it's something autocorrect in Google Doc link. There is nothing capital in C++. That is in Java only. So, and I think in Java also bool is small only. So, uh, so in the next class, so I have a doubt regarding typecasting. Okay, you can ask. Okay, just let me finish and then you can ask your doubts. We'll still be here for some more time. Okay, don't worry. So in the next class we'll probably be starting number theory and binary search. So number theory or binary search, and those are from there we actually CP begins, right? The algorithms and all those things. So that's where it begins. These are all like the prerequisites basically. So, and I think the strength was like less today also. Like there were 60 initially and there are 40 right now. And a lot of people voted yes yesterday. I think there were about 100 people who voted yes, the class should be conducted tomorrow. So today we didn't conduct the class at Google Meet because people had quizzes. So we assumed that you're not coming because you have quizzes. But if the number of students that attend the class remains like 50 or 60 like this, then we'll conduct the next class from on Google Meet itself only. Like, okay, so it's not like we make videos for you, like you can watch it later. Okay, and basically this was an offline program. CodeISM was, the classes were conducted offline in college, since the college is not open. That's why we have to do it, because our target is to make you to push you to a certain level, right? Okay, at the end of your first year, so that by the second year you can start preparing for your internships, because second year, uh, that's really important year of your college. That's basically the preparation phase for your internships. So hopefully, and just tell your classmates if anyone is. And I think the strength of CSE is 120 something. Still the total people attending are 40. So I think CSC students think that they don't need to do coding or something like this, but that's not the case. If they don't do coding, they won't get a job, that's for sure, right? uh, because that's the requirement of the company. If you don't even clear the coding round, it doesn't matter how, if you are in CSC, or if CSC guy solves two questions and some other branch guys or girls solves more than 2 questions, like he or she solves 3 questions, then CSC, that's it's not like the CSC would, one guy would still get a job. So that's not the case. So just let people like tell your friends or all those around you that so otherwise you will be in a lot of tension in your second year. Everyone does it, whether they like it or not, everyone comes to the class. Okay, so if anyone has any doubt, they can ask. Otherwise we can otherwise you can leave as well. Okay. Sir, in pair 3 parameters can be used like pair int. You can't use pair int, but for something like that you can do something like pair of int comma pair of int comma int, something like this. And if you need to access, you can write pair dot first, pair dot second dot first, pair dot p dot second. So basically, when you write p dot first, so that means compare the first pair, go in the first pair, and that would be the first element. When you write p dot second, so p dot second is itself a pair, so we need one more first or second, so you can do something like this. Okay. Does anyone have any other doubt? So I have problem in maps, where should I study it from? Maps. Hmm, we'll share the resources, but there's not, there's nothing you have to study. Basically you have to solve questions. I mean, basically the maps would be used in questions. They are not like something you need to devote a week entirely to it. Just know the functions of map, like the size and the find dot count, though all those functions, if you know them, then that's only thing you need to study of maps. Rest you have to solve questions only. Sir, please explain how to create a pair vector. So you can sum to, so basically vector, and here you write the data type, right? In so if you are creating a vector of int, you write int. Otherwise you can write pair of int comma int. So that's how you create a vector pair. Okay. Anyone have any other doubt? I think someone asked before something typecast regarding typecasting. Uh, you can ask what exactly is your doubt. Got it, sir. Okay. So does anyone have any other doubt? Otherwise, we can close the class for today. And in the next class, we'll start with number theory, hopefully. And just till then, just go through everything we have done. I think we shared some questions also in the last class. Just try to solve them also. So those were easy questions. Just try to get the hang of it. In the next class, things would escalate a bit. I mean, things would get a little bit difficult from what we were doing right till now. Because when you start number theory has a lot of good questions. Same goes for the binary search, but there are but they are interesting topics, and I personally enjoy solving. Enjoy these topics. Okay, so you can, I think you will do. So does anyone have any other doubt? So if you want to continue. Sir, if I need a 10 raised to power 9 vector, that's not possible, and you can't create a vector of 10 raised to power 9 size. Okay, so, and even if you had the memory to create it, still won't be able to access it, because 10 raised to power 9, if you have, even if you iterate, if you make a loop of 10 raised to power 9, it will give you a TLE. So in any case, you can't do it. Sir, what if we want to convert string to int? Okay, So there are some functions. Okay, we have a function called toString, and you have a function stoi, stoi. Okay, so you can read about these functions. Okay, I think they are basic functions. Okay, so basically what toString does is, if you have an integer, say x, okay, suppose, so it will return a string s equal to toString. Okay, and stoi function is basically the reverse. It will return an integer of of a string. Like if you pass s fixed string, and you'll get x back, so something like this. Okay, so this is how you can do it. Okay, so if you want to, these are some basic things. When solve when you solve problems and you encounter something like you want to create a string from an integer, you can just google it, and the first link you get it itself. So now basically it's really vast. CP is really vast. There are a lot of things, there are a lot of functions which we may also not know because we simply don't use them. All right, so it's up to you what you use more frequently. Okay, so I don't use toString and stoi much. I never use them actually. So you can do it if you want. Sir, I have more regarding 2D vector. Okay, ask. Yes, ask your doubts. There's no doubt. There's no problem because the class is over. The people who want to leave, they can leave. We'll discuss 2D array in detail. Okay, fine. So Rajan said we'll discuss 2D arrays. So I think till that you can leave it. Otherwise, you can just work in a 2D array. I think arrays are easy to use. So I mean, you can easy to declare actually. So 2D array, you can use an array instead of a vector for now. If you to calculate the size of what actually, just what's size of what you're talking about? Like, I couldn't get you. Like for a n cross n array, how can we get n? Okay, fine. So just leave it for now. If you no, if you are making an array of n cross n, you should know the array. You should know this value of n, right? If you are creating an array, so I think that's not like it's the other way around. You know n, you create an array of n cross n. It's not like you have an array of n cross n. You get this. You have to make. You have to get n. So let's just leave it for now. We'll discuss 2D array and vectors. Okay. So don't worry about that right now. Anything else? Yeah, doesn't say we calculate size only in case of vector. Yeah. Anything else you want to ask? By the way, we won't be having a class tomorrow. A lot of people have quiz, I think, and uh, so we'll probably have the class in the next in the upcoming week on Saturday, Sunday, and uh, just okay. Focus on your quizzes, do them right, and hopefully the college is planning to bring us back in February. Let's see. In HackerRank, there is a confusion. Okay. Uh, I wanted to ask question 5 of the problem you had given in Telegram. Okay, so I don't remember. I'll have to see the question once. Okay, just wait a second. Can you, Srijan, can you post the link here? So how to do helical pattern question? Uh, I couldn't get exactly what you are trying to ask. Like, is there some question you encountered something somewhere? Some question, some problems. Yeah, the thing is, uh, okay, okay, spiral path problem. Okay, fine. Yeah, fine. So spiral path problem in 2D, right? Yeah, fine. So there's a method to do that. I think okay. So you can PM me or Rajan if uh, you can ask us and we'll tell you. Okay, if you have a doubt in that question. I think the question is on HackerRank, the spiral order matrix print, something like this. So yeah, that question, there's a way to do that. Okay, you have to declare four variables, uh, one top, bottom, left and right. So if you have confusion, you can DM us. It will take a lot of time to explain it here. Okay, so you can DM me or Rajan if you want. Okay, and apocalypse. In some problems in the question, they say the parameter is array, but when I see the predefined code, they have defined it as vector. So what you can do is on HackerRank, you can erase the already existing code and you can write the code from scratch. There's no problem in that. So you can take an array, you can take a vector, whatever you like. There's no problem in that. Okay. So the spiral one, it's a bit of something like which you need to remember actually. Like the logic is clear, but you still need to know how to write that code. Okay. So you can ask us. So anything else? Anything specific you want to ask regarding syntax or something like that? Okay, so if you don't have any doubt, so we're closing the session. Okay, so thank you.